Hello and welcome to Into the Woods with Holly Wharton. This podcast is all about our journey into the woods of ourselves, getting to know who we are, where we are, and where we're going in life so that we can create the life that we want to live. It's about deepening your connection with yourself, taking inspired action, and really trusting yourself and your intuition. It's also about mindset. Our beliefs are such an important part of this journey, and there are so many ways for us to change our mindset so that we can more easily live a life of expansive joy. This podcast is also about going literally into the woods and spending time in nature, and how that can help us on our own personal journey of self-knowledge. Thank you so much for joining us today. Now let's get into this week's episode. Hello, adventurers, and welcome to the Into the Woods podcast, episode 412. This is your host, Holly Wharton, and I'm back with another exciting guest. I am super excited to talk to Mark Struczewski. A few years ago, I was a guest on his podcast, and now I've invited him to join us here. I've been following him online ever since I first met him online, and I've been particularly fascinated by his running streak because Mark has been running every single day for 1,382 days. That's almost 4 years of consistent running. Now, whether or not you're a runner, there's probably some hobby or activity that you'd like to do more of. So in this episode, we talk about daily running, habit creation, healthy living, how to change your lifestyle if you want, and most importantly, the freedom that comes when we become more productive in life. So I think a lot of people balk at the concept of productivity. It sounds like you need to be productive working in a factory or some kind of horrible place you don't want to be. But in reality, it's just about being more efficient with the limited time that we have every day, every week, every month in our lives so that we can have the freedom to do the things that we love doing. So join us to hear how Mark has completely revolutionized his life through daily running and healthy living and how you can do the same. So Mark is also known as Mr. Productivity, and you'll hear him say this throughout the interview. Mark helps entrepreneurs deal with the overwhelm that disrupts their focus. So please join me in giving a warm welcome to Mark Struczewski. Hey, Mark, how are you doing today?
Holly, I'm doing awesome. How are you?
Good. I'm super excited to have this conversation with you. You've been on my mind for ages, and I'm super excited to have you on the show.
Well, I'm glad to be here.
So you've been running every single day for the last, 1,382 days?
Wow. I wrote down the number here so I wouldn't forget. But today, June 10th, I don't know when this episode's going to be out, 1,382 days in a row. I started August 29th, 2017.
Wow. That is consistency.
A little bit.
No, that's huge. That is huge. Because I have gotten back into running. I'm kind of aiming for distance, so I don't run every day because sometimes I have a long run and I don't feel like doing anything the next day. But I am so impressed with your consistency and I find it super motivating. I loved seeing you. I know you're not on Instagram anymore, but when you would share your runs on Instagram, I would see them and be like, oh, he's running again every day. It's really inspiring.
Well, thank you for saying that. I did get off of Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. I'm just on Facebook and LinkedIn, and I have not missed a day. Now, this morning, my Apple Watch / Strava gave me incorrect data. So I usually run the same route in the morning, and I know where the mile marker is. Yeah. And I got there, and it said 0.75 miles. I'm like, no way. I know I've run this probably 500 times. And so it said I ran 2.35 miles. But I know I ran 3 miles this morning, so it jipped me out of 0.7 of a mile.
Oh, no.
So in 2019, I ran over 1,000 miles.
Wow.
2021, I ran over 1,000 miles. The goal for this year is over 1,000 miles. So far, as of June 10th, I've run 467.2 miles and have just 532.88 miles to go. Since I started running in 2015, I have run 5,228 miles.
Wow. I love that you have all the data. I've only just started using Strava last month because I just got a proper running watch. but I love it. I love having the data. I love seeing like where I went, how fast I went. I love it. So I think that's fantastic that you have all that. So why did you start running every single day? What were you hoping to achieve?
Well, back in 2007, August of 2007, Houston was visited by Hurricane Harvey.
Yeah.
And he rained and rained and rained and rained and rained for 3 days. And my wife and I, where we live, I guess we won the housing lottery because we don't have a lot of reservoirs or ponds near us. So while the street flooded 3 feet, we didn't get any water in our home. So during the height of the storm, when it was pouring buckets for days on end, I read an article on runnersworld.com that said, what I learned from running 1 mile a day every day for 250 days. And I thought, I could run that. I could do that. And so I decided that when Harvey left, I would start running. I figured, 9-10 minutes to run a mile. And I started running, and I ran 2 days and 3 days. And all of a sudden it became 50 and 100 and 500 and 1,000. And like, oh my gosh. And people go, you're still running? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, that must be kind of record. No, actually the record, the guy just passed away recently. I don't know, 3-4 weeks ago. He ran every day since May 26, 1969. I wasn't even 4 years old when this guy started running. So yes, it is impressive to have the streak I have, but there are people who have been running for way longer than I have. And I don't run for a marathon. I'm not trying to impress anyone. I'm married. I don't have to impress my wife. I run because I like to run.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So what have you learned from running every single day for almost 4 years?
Well, in the early days, I woke up and I'm like, oh, I gotta go running. I gotta go running. Now it's like I get to run.
Yeah.
I don't have to have my running stuff set out because I run. It's part of my routine every day. Now, it's really stinking hot in the morning time. It's typically like 80 degrees, heat index 90 degrees at like 7:30 in the morning. So needless to say, when you're in the South, you run really early in the morning. You don't run in the afternoon because that would be unsafe. But I what I've learned is, number one, I can. So there's days I go out running and my left knee will go, we're hurting. I'm like, we're doing 3 miles. And it like goes, okay. And it stops hurting. It's amazing how it works. But I think when you do something so consistently, you realize you can apply it to other areas of your life. If I can run every day, well, maybe I can read every day, because I know that a lot of the successful people tell you that you have to read a minimum of 30 minutes every day. So if you could run every day, then you can read every day. If you can read every day, maybe you can engage on social media to promote your business, brand, your cause every day. If you can do that, maybe you can drink half your weight in ounces of water every day. So it just builds habits into our life.
Wow, I love that. So how else has it changed your life?
Well, my mother was diagnosed with late Alzheimer's about 3 years ago.
I'm sorry.
And Alzheimer's is one of those things where you kind of know something's wrong with the individual, but you're not a medical doctor. And so once my mom got diagnosed, I had the opportunity to talk to her neuropsychologist. And I said, my mother's mother died of Alzheimer's, and my mother will die for Alzheimer's. And I'm like, is there anything I can do? Is this genetic? Is it hereditary? Goes, there's actually things you can do to mitigate you getting Alzheimer's. You're running every day. That's good.
Wow.
Give up the processed foods, get enough sleep, all the common sense stuff. And so one of the things I run every day is to keep my heart in good shape and to take care of my body, because if there's a chance that if I take care of myself, I can mitigate ever getting Alzheimer's, I'm going to do it. I mean, I'll be 56 on June 21st, and I want to live to 100. I still want to be running when I hit triple digits.
Oh, I love seeing older runners. I don't see them on the trails here, but online, like on videos, whenever I'm watching like a race and I see someone who's, in their 60s, 70s, and they're doing ultra marathons, it's like, I want to be that. I want to still be doing this decades from now.
And what it is, you start with day one.
Yeah.
You start with mile one. I mean, I've run 467 miles already this year. Well, I started with the first mile. So many people are going, oh my gosh, 1,000 miles in a year, that's a lot. Whoa, worry about the first mile. Yeah. It's like in the National Football League, they always say, get the first down. Yeah. Don't worry about the touchdown. Get the first down. If that's 3 yards, then it's 3 yards. And I think a lot of people unnecessarily make being healthy complicated.
Yeah.
It really doesn't.
No, it doesn't have to be complicated. And it doesn't have to be running. Find your thing. Find the thing that you love. Or just try a bunch of things until you find it.
Yes, 100%.
So did you ever run when you were younger, or is this like a brand new habit? Because I didn't run. I didn't run in high school. I was not athletic in high school. I didn't do anything. And I didn't start running until kind of my late 20s. And I ran for a while, and then I DNF'd a marathon. And then I was like, oh, I'm not a good runner. So what about you?
I hated track in high school.
Me too.
I'm like, wait a minute. You want me to run around this track and then jump over these hurdles? Are you serious right now? What are you smoking?
Yeah.
No, I didn't start doing anything physically. I started running in 2015. I'd say probably I bought a nice bike around 2012, 2013. I was stupid when I was younger. I didn't care. Oh, I'm going to live forever. I don't have to exercise. I can eat whatever I want. And then when I was about 33 years old, I got an email from my body. Go, dude, we're not working this hard anymore. Yeah. Okay. You can't have all this crap because we're not going to work that hard. And of course, I'm like, I'm not going to listen to it. And then I started putting on a little weight, put a little sugar belly on, and I started not feeling good. I had trouble walking upstairs and all this other stuff. And I'm like, maybe I should listen to my body. And now I'm on this kick of eating hardly any processed foods because I read a couple books that say processed foods, eating out at, fast food restaurant, that's not good for you. It's designed to get you this tastes so good, a Big Mac and fries, and you just eat, and the body's trying to go, okay, where's the vitamins and minerals in this? I don't see it. When you eat real food, I've dropped like 9 pounds in a week because all I eat is fruits, vegetables, and meats. I don't eat processed foods. Yeah. And now my body goes, oh, that's what we want. For example, one of my favorite meals right now is, those Italian sausage links?
Oh, yeah.
So I cooked 2 of those and cooked a yellow or a red or an orange bell pepper. No bun. And my body goes, this is what we want.
Yeah.
The only thing that really wants the sweets, like the candy and the ice cream and the Big Macs and stuff like that, is your tongue. Once you get past the tongue, the body goes, okay, what am I going to do with this? But if you give it like fruits and vegetables, it goes, this is what I want. And because I'm Mr. Productivity, when you give your body good food, it doesn't have to work as hard. See, when you're eating processed foods, your body's got to work so hard to process it. But when you give your food what it wants, it goes, you go here, you go there, you go there, you go. And it knows. That's why I only drink water now. Because when you drink just water and ambient temperature water, your body goes, this is what I want. Your body doesn't want the soda, the liquor, and all this other stuff. It wants water. And I can tell you, I never say anything that I don't live or believe. And I can tell you, since I changed this, it's made a fundamental difference in my life. And something else I'm doing, I listened to a book by Dr. Lustig, Lustig. He wrote a book called Metabolical. I mean, blow your mind. And one of the things he talks about is everyone talks about in the morning, you should always have breakfast. We always heard breakfast is the most important part of the day. But do you know who came out with that saying?
Kellogg's.
A guy by the name of, Kellogg's. Very good. Because he made cereal. Yep. So what I started doing is I started about 2 weeks ago doing TRE, time restricted eating.
Yes.
So I don't eat until at 10:30 I have my green juice, and at 11 o'clock I have lunch. And I eat until 8 o'clock at night. And that and kicking out processed foods, I've lost 8 or 9 pounds. I don't remember exactly, in like 7-10 days, because my body goes. So now when I run in the morning, it's only burning the fat.
Yeah.
And then I get done with my run, say around 7:30. I don't eat for another 3 hours.
Yeah.
So my body goes, we're hungry. Oh, we'll just eat the fat because you will survive. Okay. You don't need to have the food. And it's amazing that I've had older people, my parents, my dad's 80, my mom is 76 with Alzheimer's. And sometimes they'll have juice with cereal and a donut for breakfast. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's more sugar than I have in like 3 days. Yeah. And in America, the sugar lobby's got a lot of money.
Yeah.
They say that you need 25% of your diet should be made of sugar, when in fact, your body does not need sugar at all.
No. No.
So I never intended to be a health and wellness guy, but the more I learned about productivity, and energy in the body, I started learning about health and wellness. And I'm like, okay, we don't need sugar. We don't need soda. We don't need beer. We need to give our body, if you feed your body what it needs, your body will be very good to you. You'll have better productivity, more energy, and you'll be happier.
Yeah. You'll just have more time to do the things you want to do. I mean, I started doing intermittent fasting about 2.5 years ago, and I can't believe how much more time I have because I'm not cooking breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I mean, I would eat real food. I wasn't eating, donuts and things for breakfast. I was eating like eggs, but that takes time to cook. And now I don't have to do that because if I want eggs, I'll have them for lunch or dinner. So I can still have the same foods, but just at a different time of day. And I've got so much more time because I used to block out time for breakfast, lunch, and dinner in the calendar. Ugh. And now I just think, got more time to do the things I want to do, whether that's going for a longer run or, working on my business or working on creative projects. Like, I don't have to spend all this time eating because breakfast is not the most important meal of the day.
I used to do this thing on Saturdays. I was so proud of myself. Saturdays was donut day. So I would go run 3 or 4 miles and I get donuts on the way back. And when I gave up the donuts, my body just said to me, wow, thank you. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Because we didn't need all that sugar. Yeah. Now, go have an apple. Because apple's got sugar. Apple's got sugar in it, but it's not the same sugar in donuts because it's got fiber. Yeah. See, if you just eat pure sugar, it goes down to your body and your body gets rid of it. But if you have sugar like from an apple or a peach or strawberries, it's got fiber in it. And so the fiber allows that nutrient to get into your bloodstream. I mean, if I were to go back to myself 20 years ago and say, you know what? You're going to become a health nut in 20 years. I'm like, no, I'm not. But you know what? It has changed my life. Yeah. I feel so much better now. I feel, like I said, in a couple of weeks, June 21st, I'll be 56. I don't feel 56. I feel like I'm in my mid-40s. And I think it's a direct result of taking care of myself. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. My health was always pretty good until about mid-30s. My thyroid got messed up and I just was really low energy for about 9 or 10 years. And I couldn't, I got on thyroid meds, but they didn't do anything to alleviate the symptoms. I gained the weight. I had no energy. I couldn't do all the things I wanted to do because I just didn't have the energy. And it was fasting that turned that around for me. Both things. Like, it helped me lose weight and it gave me the energy that I'd been wanting. And now I'm going out, doing longer runs, doing hikes, walks, like all the things I want to do because of this way of eating. It's amazing. And I'm sitting here right now. It's nearly 10 o'clock as we're recording this. And my body goes, okay, in about 40 minutes, we get to have your green juice. And then in an hour and 10 minutes, we get to eat some food. But you know what? My wife's an intermittent faster. And I'm like, I used to make fun of her. I'm like, I can't go that long without eating. And she goes, you don't eat during the night. Yeah. I'm like, oh, okay, that's 7 hours. And so you can actually do it. She's actually fasted up to 35 hours before. Yeah. I'm like, that's nuts. But you can do it. And my body, I know right now, my body's really hungry, but I know what it's doing. It's feeding off my fat right now. It's like, okay, he's not feeding us food, so we'll just eat the fat, and that's why you lose weight. So, I mean, definitely check with your doctor. Yeah, but I'm telling you what works for me. You can go 3 weeks without food, 3 days without water, or 3 minutes without oxygen. I don't know, something like that. I don't remember the exact thing. But you don't need to eat. I mean, there are people that go days without eating, and you'll be fine. Your body is created so it's got stores. If you got a little belly on you, your body is okay. Your body, there'll be food for your body to eat. Don't worry, you're not going to die. Yeah, you've got integrated snacks. So you've had this huge life-changing revolution. Like, you started running every day, you changed your way of eating, it has completely changed your life. So what motivates you to keep consistent with this? I mean, do you ever feel like not going out for a run? What motivates you to keep going? Is it just because you feel good, or? Well, I have become addicted to running. I mean, I'm a data nerd, so I except for this morning when Strava, my Apple Watch, told me I ran shorter than I did when I know I ran 3 miles. But it's okay. I still love you guys. But I want to take care of myself. I love the way I feel. I usually go to bed around 9:30, and I love about 8:30, 8:45. I'm exhausted. So I feel better. It's interesting because I can't believe I'm doing this stuff. Yeah. I can't believe it. I mean, as we're talking about it, I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, always taking care of myself. I take my blood pressure. I always weigh myself because, when I go shopping, I see people who are 12, 15, 16 years old. They weigh more than me, and you look in the shopping cart, there's mac and cheese, there's donuts, there's ice cream, there's cookies. And now I understand that food, I'm using air quotes here on the podcast, it's not really food.
No.
I mean, like when I have a bell pepper, it's just a bell pepper.
Yeah.
Okay. When I have almonds, it says almonds and salt. That's it.
There's no ingredients list.
Exactly. When you, like my peanut butter, it says peanuts and oil.
Yeah.
That's it. But when you look at Oreos or you look at cupcakes, whatever, look at all the ingredients and it puts all this stuff in there to preserve it. I read another book by a guy named Dr. McCullough. He wrote a book called The Truth About COVID-19. And in there, he talks about something called linoleic acid. And it's predominantly found in omega-6. And omega-6 is the things they put in food to preserve it.
Yeah.
Okay. And so he says you need to calculate your linoleic acid ratio. You got to track your food. I use an app called Chronometer, and it should be between 1 and 2. Okay. Chronometer is CRONOMETER. And so what the calculation is, you find out what your omega-6 is. Of course, you got to log your food. You multiply it times 9 because it's 90% of omega-6. And you divide by the calories burned times 100. And that should be between 1 and 2. Mine is usually less than 1. Okay. If about a week ago, I had McDonald's. My linoleic acid was 6.9.
Wow.
And if you look at the omega-6, because in Chronometer, you tap the omega-6, it tells you what your food is. Pepper wasn't one of apple, strawberry. No. The chicken nuggets and the fries. That's where all my omega-6 was. And they put omega-6 in to preserve the food. Yeah. The bread I eat has got to be frozen. We eat Ezekiel bread. It's 100% whole grain. There's no preservatives. There's no sugar. But it's got to be frozen because there's no preservatives in it to let it sit in the counter. If you leave it sit in the counter, it'll go bad. Yeah. And so the reason why the food manufacturers has to put all the stuff in the food is because they don't know how long by the time they make it, and then they package it, and they put it in the truck, and it goes to the warehouse, from the warehouse to the store before you buy it. It's a very long time. So they put all this preservatives in there. Well, they're finding out now those preservatives are not good for our body. Yeah. That's why any doctor worth their salt will tell you, eat non-processed foods and always eat things closer to the source. In other words, having an apple is better than applesauce because the applesauce is processed and had sugar added to it. Yeah. And I can tell you, I feel wonderful because of this. I know people go, well, do you always eat processed foods? I'm like, well, once in a while, like my daughter's going to come visit in a week and we're going to go to a steakhouse here in Texas and I will have French fries and I will have dessert. But it's okay if you have processed foods once in a while. Yeah. The problem with most people in the world, they have it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner and for every snack. And then they have the soda. Look, if you want to start, just say, okay, one meal a day, I'm going to have all whole foods. One day. You see how it's going to make you feel. Then you go to 2 days. Start small. I'm not saying throw all the food out in your house. Just when you go shopping, instead of buying Oreo cookies, buy apples. Yeah. And then eventually you replace everything. Because here's the thing. If you get hungry, and you know where I'm going with this, Holly. Yeah. If you get hungry and you're like, Oreos or apples? What do you think's going to win?
Well, if your body's addicted to sugar, I think it's going to go for the Oreos.
And I also learned something else from a guest on my show about the gut biome.
Yes.
So if you eat non-processed foods, your gut biome will change. Yeah. And then you won't crave the sugar anymore. Yep. It's amazing. Yeah. Your body goes, oh, we changed. So that you can change your gut biome. Do the research. Go to your favorite search engine and search on how do I change my gut biome. Yeah. It doesn't take that long. We're not talking months or years. If you eat the right food consistently, you change it. Now, I have a rule that my wife and I go to Bible study in church every Saturday night. And they always bring, of course, processed cakes and brownies. That's the one treat I get. Not the whole day, just the Bible study, because it's only like about 30 minutes. That's it. So I allow myself that. But you know what? Since I've been on this kicking the processed food, it doesn't taste as good as it used to.
I know. The more real food you eat, the worse the other stuff it tastes. And I've also...
your eye goes, oh, I remember, because your brain's going, oh, I remember how that tastes. You take a bite and go,
no, it doesn't. It doesn't taste how you remember it. It's like your brain remembers this really yummy thing, and it's like the reality is totally different.
Yeah.
God. That happens to me with a lot of like American junk food that I kind of grew up eating. Like sometimes I'll visit the States and I'll be like, oh, nostalgia. Like I feel like I want to eat that thing and I'll eat it and I'll just be like, have they changed the recipe or was it always that gross? Like I wanted to have this nice nostalgic, experience and it's just nasty.
Yeah. Well, I remember a couple years ago, I had a guest on my show from Australia, and she said that she had visited the States, and she goes, "You guys put sugar in everything."
Yeah.
I mean, there's sugar in bread, there's sugar in oatmeal,
Yeah.
there's sugar everywhere. And I remember, I will admit this, when I was a kid, I used to have, my mom used to say, look, we're not going to get sugared cereal. Okay, sugared cereal is not good for you. And so she would buy cornflakes, and I put like 5 pounds of sugar on it.
Yeah.
So, Mom, you would have been better off buying the Fruit Loops.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same effect. So you have shown between your real food eating and your 1,382 days of running an incredible dedication to consistency. So how have you managed to fit this into your calendar? Because eating real food takes more time, and running obviously takes time. So how do you get this done so consistently?
It comes down to priorities.
Yeah.
Okay, what's important? Okay, so for example, I'm also trying to wean myself off of TV. I find I put the TV on and like, some of the show, my wife and I have this rule now that when our show is canceled, we don't replace it. We used to replace it with something else. But I think it comes down to priorities. Do you want to get healthier? Do you want to have more energy? Okay.
Yeah.
It's easy to eat the crap. It's easy to binge watch Netflix.
Yeah.
It's easy to just say, well, tomorrow I'm going to go for a walk or a run or whatever. It's real easy. But if you truly want to have more energy and be healthier, you've got to say, look I'm going to do this. And it'll be tough in the beginning, but the longer you do it, like my running streak or giving up processed food, every day gets a little easier.
Yeah.
Okay. But you have to make that decision. And I think a lot of people really are like zombies from The Walking Dead. They're on autopilot.
Yep.
I just do this. For example, when you wake up, what you should do when you wake up, you get out of bed, you put your feet on the floor, you immediately make your bed, you turn on all the lights on in your room. Okay. Now, if you're sleeping with someone, then you get out of bed, you put your feet on the floor, you make your side of bed, you go out in the kitchen, turn all the lights on. That stimulates the body to waking up.
Yep.
You start doing that on a regular basis, you won't necessarily need an alarm clock. I need an alarm clock this morning because I had trouble sleeping last night and I stupidly took 2 Benadryl, which knocked me out, and I have a Benadryl hangover right now. But you have to build a habit.
Yeah.
Same way I did running, same way I do reading every day. No one's going to do it for you.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can say, oh man, I wish I could be fit like Holly and Mark. Well, you can.
Yeah.
But we can't do it for you. We can tell you our stories. We can tell you what we're doing, but you have to make the decision. And I tell you the best way to do this is if you're going to start working out, go use an app like Strava because then you get other people cheering you on.
Yeah.
If you try to do it yourself, you're going to say, well, I'm going to take just today off. And then tomorrow you go, well, 2 days won't hurt. And all of a sudden it's 2 weeks and 2 months. Even if you get a buddy, someone you run with or walk with, you need to have someone holding you accountable because you don't want to let them down. If you're doing it yourself, you're going to start rationalizing, well, I don't have to go running today. Like I remember just over 3 months ago, we had a winter storm here in Texas. It seems weird as it's 86 degrees outside right now, 95-degree heat index, but we lost power. It snowed in my ground in my yard here in Houston, Texas for like 2 days. And I remember that Wednesday, it was really cold out. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to run when it's 5 degrees outside wind chill. I'm not doing it. This is Houston, for goodness sake. And so I'm running in my house, and then the power goes out. Now, most people would say, oh, can't run today. I grabbed a flashlight, and I ran my 3 miles in the house.
Wow.
Because I want to run every day.
Yeah.
Now, some people would say that's lunacy. Why? What else am I going to do? Sit there and moan and groan and complain about the power being out and it getting cold in the house? The room wasn't that cold. It was like 70 degrees in the house, and it got 68, 65, and by the time the power came back on, it was 52. But it wasn't minus 52.
Yeah, and you were warm because you were running.
Exactly. But most people are like, wait a minute, you had no power. You're running in your house, around your furniture, up and down the hallway with a flashlight. Like, yeah. And, my dog knows when I'm running, she better stay out of the way because I'll bowl her over. So she went in the kitchen with my wife, and I got the run in. Yeah. But my point is, how bad do you want it? Yeah. Everybody wants to be skinny. Yeah. Everybody wants to be healthy. But what are you doing? Yeah. DOING. What are you doing? I don't want you to think about being healthy. What are you doing? See, the magic doesn't come from the dwelling. Yeah. It comes from the doing. And a lot of people are saying, oh, I wish I could run 1,382 days in a row. I'm like, you can. You start with day 1, day 2. Oh, well, I don't have the right shoes. And they start making all these excuses. Well, my neighborhood's not safe or whatever. Come on. If you really want it bad enough, you'll find a way. Tony Robbins says it's not a question of resources, it's a question of resourcefulness.
Yeah.
If you want to get in shape, you will get in shape.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't, you won't. It's when I heard that for so long when I was in my 30s and 40s, I'm like, it's about the hogwash. Yeah. Now I know it's true.
Yeah.
You have got to want it in your heart.
Yep.
Okay. Nobody's going to give that to you except for you. So you can listen to the motivational gurus and watch the videos and go follow me and Holly on Strava. Look it. You got to get out and go for a walk or go for a run, because if you don't, nothing is going to change positively. It will certainly change negatively because you'll gain weight. You'll probably get some diseases, and then your life is just going to go, it's going to crater. So you have to choose. And I hope if we get one person, Holly, as all the show, to do something, I will consider this a win.
Oh, me too. Me too. Absolutely. And I think one of the things, like growing up as a non-athletic person or a non-athletic kid, like I just thought I was born that way and I just wasn't athletic. But like, I'm going to be 48 this year. You're going to be 56. Like we started this fairly recently and we can do it. So like really anyone can do it. You've just got to start with something and you've got to start small. Start with what you can do and then build from there. It's ridiculous how well my body is adapting to long distance running. Like I'm really shocked. Like I'm recovering better from my long runs. Like it doesn't hurt as much. Like I don't have to take ibuprofen. Like this morning I went on a 6-hour run. Like before, like I got home like an hour before, our podcast. Like I feel great. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that a few months ago, but like my body's adapted to it.
Did she say 6 hours? What the heck? Oh my gosh. Well, you know what? About 5 days ago, I'd get up in the morning, go running, and all of a sudden the humidity landed in Houston. Yeah. And I went running 5 days ago, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it feels like I'm running in a sauna. It was like night and day. And it takes a couple weeks. Whenever this happens every summer, it takes a couple weeks for my body to go, what in the world is going on right now? And like what I do, it's so bad. I only run 3 miles because I run every day. Right. You don't run 6 hours.
Exactly. No.
So what I do is my normal thing is I run for a mile. Right. I walk for a 1/10 of a mile. I run for 9/10 of a mile to get to 2 minutes. Yep. I run for a 1/10 of a mile, then 9/10, a 1/10, and for 3 miles. The last couple of days, I've run for a mile, walked for a 1/10, ran for a half a mile. I shorten it because my body's going, oh my gosh, it's not that I'm not in shape, is that humidity. Yep. It's like, if you've never been in really thick humidity, I mean, when I look at my weather app and I look at humidity, it goes, you don't want to know. Okay. Yeah, I know. That's what it tells me, that you don't want to know. Yeah. And it's so crazy. And I hate this part because I love running, but I mean, I wear a shirt that's supposed to wick the sweat from my body as I run. And it's going,
it can't deal with it.
I don't know what you want us to do, but I wear a halo to keep, because I'm bald and I keep the sweat off my eyes. And I ring it, and it's like ringing a gallon of water. I'm done. I mean, it's that hot here. But I don't say, oh, it's so hot out, I can't run. I just look at I listen to my body. Yep. And I slow down. You adapt. That's it. But let's say someone's listening to this show and they're like, well, I want to start getting in shape. Then here's the best thing to do. Start taking a brisk walk. Now, a brisk walk, you slightly elevate your heart rate. Yep. Okay? Start doing that. Do that for 20 minutes a day. And then go to 25 minutes and 30 minutes. You need to prioritize your health. Because without your health, you don't have a life. Yeah. So make it a priority to take care of your health. Yeah, exactly. So I think one of the biggest kind of objections that people have to getting in shape or creating new habits is, I don't have the time. I'm just so busy. I don't have time to run every day. I don't have time. So what would you say to people that have that very common complaint? Well, I'm an entrepreneur. I have a daily podcast called the Struczewski Podcast. And I interview people 5 days a week. I have coaching clients. I go live on social media to help people. I have a wife. I read for an hour every day, and I have time to run. And I get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, go to bed around 9 o'clock. If you want it bad enough, you'll find the time. Let me ask you this question, listener. This is what I want you to do. For 2 or 3 days, I want you to write down everything you do.
Yeah.
Everything. I don't want you judging yourself. I want you to write everything down. And I want you to write down what you did, how long it took you. Okay? When you do the list, and I want you to be completely honest. You don't have to share this with me or Holly. Write down what you said. Because the problem is, y'all are keeping your stories up in your head.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not wasting that much time. But you are. If you write down everything you do all day long, I don't have to get micro, like I want to pee for 30 seconds. I'm not talking about that. But, I watched Netflix for 4 hours. Yeah. I was scrolling on Instagram for 3 hours. Write all this stuff down, and you're going to see where your time is going. You have 30 minutes to exercise.
Yeah.
You do. What's happening is you're so busy doing stuff that doesn't move the needle.
Yeah.
It doesn't move the needle. I mean, what is binge watching a show on Netflix? How is that helping you in the future?
Yeah. And it's probably not bringing you that much joy. Like an hour of Netflix is okay, or a half an hour. Like, that's relaxing. But once you get beyond that, is it really making you that happy to watch that? Is it taking you where you want to go in life? Probably not.
Good point. But I think the magic is creating a list of everything you're doing.
Yep.
And when you write it, and don't do it on your phone, do it in a notebook, because there's something that happens kinesthetically when you write wasted 3 hours on social media. Now it makes a connection in your brain. You're like, oh my gosh. And you're going to say, you have the time.
Yeah.
Don't tell me you don't have the time.
Yeah.
Okay. You have the time. Gary Vaynerchuk is one of the busiest entrepreneurs on this planet. He makes it a priority to exercise every day.
Yeah.
You have the time. The problem is it's not a priority for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can make the time. I love going through my timeline in Strava and just I don't really give love to the bicycle people. I look for the sneaker icon because I'm a runner like you are. Yes. So I will give love to and I'm impressed. I'm like, wow, these people. And, I run about a 9-minute mile and I see people 5-minute, like, oh my Lord, 5-minute mile.
I'm slow.
And some people are nutty like you and run 6 hours. But I wish I could sort it just by people who run. That would be really nice.
Yeah.
But, and get involved in the community. Maybe you do, friends at your church or friends in your neighborhood and all walk together, run together. Yeah. You need to get people with you. Because then when you don't feel like it and they do, they'll say, come on, let's go. Yeah. But if you're doing it yourself, you're like, you'll be sitting in bed and be nice and comfy, cozy. And you're like, oh, it's so comfortable here. Just 5 more minutes. And then all of a sudden you won't go. So you need to get at least one other person that's going to do it with you. And you don't have to know them in person. You can connect with someone on Strava.
Yeah.
And say, make sure I run every day. And but you got to move. I have an Apple Watch. And the best thing about the Apple Watch is that there's 3 rings on it. There's a move ring, a stand ring, and an exercise ring. And so I close my rings every day for like 600 days in a row. So I exercise for 30 minutes. I stand at least 1 minute every hour for 12 hours. And the move ring is like, it's partly exercise. But if I got up from the computer and walked out the kitchen and got some water, it's like 2 calories. You go check the mail, 2 calories. Yeah. So every time you're moving, you walk to your car, go shopping, you get credit for it. And I say, whether you have an Apple Watch or not, you need to close your rings every day, which means you need to be standing up every hour and walking around for at least a minute.
Yeah.
We were never designed to sit endlessly behind screens on Zoom calls. And
I'm designed for this. Yeah, I know. And I think it's important to point out, if you're hydrating well enough, as I can see you are, you're going to have to go to the toilet at some point to pee. Yep. Like I always have like a pint of water and, if it's winter, like a cup of herbal tea on my desk. Like I'm always drinking something. And so I have to go to the toilet, like on a very regular basis. That's getting me moving, like, cause I have to. It's a bodily necessity. So, building in these habits like healthy eating, healthy hydration, that's going to help you move and do other things as well. It's just like such a holistic perspective, I think.
And I am so glad in 2021, health has come to the forefront now.
Yes.
This whole thing with COVID going on, I've done a lot of research on it. I've done a lot of reading on it. And, I'm not going to get into vaccine, should get a vaccine, not get a vaccine. But I really believe that our immune system is our protector.
Yes.
And you need to boost your immune system. So when it's sunny out here in Houston, which is a lot during the summer, I go out and sit if I go at solar noon, which is about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I only have to sit out there for about 20 minutes to get 6,000 IUs.
Wow.
Because that's the best way to get vitamin D. You don't eat processed food. You exercise, you get enough sleep. You boost your immune system. So that way you don't have to worry about getting sick. Like I work from home, so I very rarely go among other people. I don't wear a mask. I don't wear a mask around my house. I don't wear a mask when I'm running. Yeah. I can't remember the last time I wore a mask. It must have been about 6-7 months ago.
Oh, wow.
Because I take care of myself.
Yeah.
Okay. I really believe, like Dr. Lustig talks about in his book, Metabolical, food is a medicine. It's better not to take the vaccine, but eat better. A lot of people, what they're doing is they're saying, I'm going to take the vaccine, but I'm still going to eat like crap. I'm still going to drink wine. I'm still going to smoke cigarettes and do drugs. Well, why'd you take the vaccine? What's the point? Because you're doing all these other bad habits are not that they think that it's not a vaccine. It's a messenger RNA. Yeah. The shot, they think that's going to cover all their bad habits. It's not.
No.
It's not.
You're going to have other problems.
You need, like they said, the recovery rate if you get COVID is 98.9% or some number like that. And only people with pre-existing conditions are the ones that are dying from it. But I would argue that people who are struggling with it are people who either have pre-existing conditions or don't take care of themselves. Yeah. They're obese. They're morbidly obese. They're not drinking water, or they're having all this processed foods, and the immune system is compromised. I don't know a single person. I know a lot of people who have taken care of themselves, which means they have a strong immune system. They got COVID. Not a single one. I know people 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. They never got the shot. They work at a corporate office. They take care of themselves. They never got sick. Yeah. Now, am I saying this is 100% the case? No. I can't possibly ask everyone. But when your immune system is strong, it's designed to go, oh, so you may have been exposed. I may have been exposed to COVID. I have no earthly idea.
Me neither.
My body goes, oh, wait a minute. Next time that comes, we know how to fight that. And that's how the immune system works. And I think we know like 1% what the immune system does. I think it's so powerful. Yeah. But when you take a shot, you're telling your body, look we got this. And I'm like, I'd rather trust my immune system, because my immune system's like the advanced artificial intelligence. And so, I don't want to go down the whole COVID thing, because number one, your podcast maybe get banned from social media. But I've got some very strong opinions, and I've got a lot of my friends who have the same strong opinions, because I don't think a pill or a shot is the answer. I think taking better care of yourself is the answer. Eating better food, drinking lots of water, exercising. I think that is the solution, not turning to Big Pharma. Obviously, this podcast won't be a big fan of Big Pharma, won't be listening to it and cheering it on. But they want to push, they make medicine by pushing their drugs.
Yeah, of course.
I believe there's a saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. I never understood that. And one of my guests told me the reason why is the second brain is your gut. If you eat an apple, the apple starts breaking down, and it changes your gut biome. And so if you take care of yourself, you're not immune, but you're more resistant to diseases, because your body can fight it off. If all you do is smoke and you're overweight, you never exercise, and you do drugs and you drink to your unconscious, well, your immune system's a train wreck. Yeah. So, somebody knows one person that is very healthy, that takes care of themselves, that exercises, that got COVID and died, let me know. Maybe you
I don't know those. I don't know those. So Mark, have you always been a productive person, or how did you get into productivity? Is it like, like running where you got into it later in life, or have you always been like super efficient?
Very good question. I was born an only child.
Me too.
And what's that?
Me too.
Oh, okay. And so I grew up in a very structured household. I mean, we had dinner at 5 o'clock.
Yep.
And I was expected to be there
Yep.
at 5 o'clock. I was out playing with my friends. Dinner was at 5. So I would come from school at 3:30, and my mom would get home around 4:30, and I best have my homework done before I went outside and played. And I better be washed up and at the table at 5. When dinner was done, I had to clean the table. And I remember a time when there was no dishwasher. I had to wash the dishes. I know some people, the podcast goes, no dishwasher. Yeah, dishwashers went around from the beginning of the time. And so I grew up in a structured household.
Yeah.
And so I think naturally, when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do the rest of my life, and one of my coaches said, well, why don't you teach productivity? I'm like, why? He goes, you're so naturally productive. You should share that with the world. And that's how I became Mr. Productivity. This stuff comes very natural to me.
Yeah.
I mean, when people say, like we talked about earlier, I don't have the time, I'm like, oh, yes, you do. If Mark Cuban has time, if Elon Musk has time, you have time.
Yeah.
And so, and when I look at people, I tell them, well, tell me what you spend your time with. And they always generalize. They always say, well, I do a little this and that. I'm like, no, tell me specifically. And they don't like that. And so, in answer to your question, I've always been productive because I was raised that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I had a very similar upbringing. My mother was very, very organized. Things happen at a certain time. You get there on time. Stuff gets done.
My household, and this is something that drives my wife crazy, if you say be there at 10, to me that's 9:45.
Me too.
Not 10. All right.
Me too.
Virtual high five. Virtual high five.
Oh, me too. Oh, yes, yeah. I've had partners that have not been as timely as I am, and it's a source of great stress to me sometimes. So for people who want to have hobbies and adventures and they want to prioritize them, like what productivity tips or tools can they use to make sure that their hobbies and adventures are a priority?
Well, number one, I would say invest in me as a coach. But for free, I would tell you that you need to sit down. And I don't want you to sit down with TV on or people talking. I don't want to even have you sit in front of your computer. Yeah. I want you to go someplace, maybe clear out the table. And all I want you to have is a piece of paper and a pen and maybe water.
Yeah.
Okay, water. And I want you to say, okay, what are the things I want to do? Okay, yeah. You have to work. Okay, you got work. What do you want to do? Do you want to take up a craft? Do you want to learn a new skill? And I want you to write all this stuff down. Then I said, okay, this is what I want to do. Okay, so now I'm going to create my schedule. I'm going to start planning because what gets scheduled gets done. You need to tell your time where to go instead of wondering where it went. So you open up your planner for tomorrow. You go, okay, I'm going to work 9 hours tomorrow, take an hour for lunch, it leaves me 8 hours. I already have 4 hours worth of stuff on my schedule. It leaves me 4 hours. What am I going to fill that 4 hours with? If you don't tell those 4 hours where to go, that's where you go to Netflix or Hulu or Facebook. You need to say, okay, I want to be on Facebook, so I'm going to allow myself 30 minutes on Facebook. You put it in your calendar. Okay, I want to read for 30 minutes. Put that in your calendar. Okay, I want to learn this new skill. I'm going to put an hour in my calendar. You put it on your calendar, and you stick to the plan. What a lot of people do is they keep everything in their head. Like, well, I'll do this, and but if you put it on paper first, now you can put it on your iPhone later, but put it on paper first. You're going to be able to see. What I encourage you to do is go write down the hours you're going to work and then put like lines across so you can see where it all breaks out, or get yourself a planner and go, okay, now I see it. Now that works for me. Now, would it always be perfect? No. But you are going to be light years ahead of other people. Light years. If you sit down and say, this is what I want to do tomorrow. Most people don't do it. They wing it and don't wing it.
Yeah, no, I mean, my head's going to fall off because I just keep nodding at everything you're saying. But I use Google Calendar to run my life, and I have everything color coded and time blocked. And if I don't do that, I just do stuff. I mean, that era is long gone, but like, if I don't time block everything and say, okay, I'm going to do an hour here of this, an hour here of that, I'm going to spend 3 hours of that. I've got to, work on a client's book. So that's going to take me a couple of hours. Like, if I don't do that, I just don't do anything in the day. I fiddle around with my emails or, do some social media marketing. And I'm saying that with air quotes because like sometimes it's strategic and sometimes it's just looking at my timeline. I absolutely have to block everything out in my calendar. And sometimes I overestimate and it takes me less time. So I adjust that in my calendar and I drag and drop everything around. Sometimes it takes me more time. So then I have to shift some things to tomorrow. But like, I always update my schedule based on how long it actually took me to do that stuff. So I know next time I have to do that task, it's going to take me an hour or 2 hours or whatever.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I say, tell your time where to go instead of wondering where it went.
Yeah.
You will never get it perfect. There are times where I'll schedule different things throughout the day. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm in a groove right now. So I'm going to move this one to later in the day and I'm going to keep working on one. That's okay.
Yeah.
We're not talking about the 10 commandments here. You can move things around. If you're in the flow, don't go, well, it's time to stop. No, don't stop the flow.
Yeah.
But that doesn't happen a lot. But when it does, allow yourself grace to do that.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, they just don't take the time to plan their days. And then they get to the end of the day and they go, what did I do today?
Yeah.
I have no idea. And they sit there and they think about it, like, I literally have no idea because they weren't intentional about their time.
Yes.
Just take the time. And the more you do it, it doesn't take you as long. Like, it doesn't take you that long.
Exactly.
Days.
No.
But when you first start, it's going to take you longer. And then every time you do it, it'll take you less time.
It's like building a muscle, really.
Yeah.
Your productivity muscle.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
So I shared something on Instagram asking people what questions they had about productivity, and no one answered. And one person was like, I'm curious where the word productivity came from. Was it coined during the industrial era and geared more towards productivity of machines, or is it how much we produce via machines? And I was like, really, for me, it's just about being like efficient with the limited time I have available, because I have some stuff that I have to do and I want to be efficient with that so I can do the things I want to do, like go on a crazy 6-hour run on Thursday morning. Like, obviously I'm going to get my work done later today than I normally would, but I made sure that I got other stuff done other days of the week so that I had the time to do this big block of running. So it's about being efficient.
For me, it's all about freedom.
Yes.
It's about freedom. One of my clients, one of the things she's always wanted to do, she's got a side hustle. Okay. But she never got around to doing her side hustle. And she really loved the side hustle. But after I coached her, she has 3 categories. She's got personal, she's got work, and she's got her side hustle. Now she has time because she says, this is my personal bucket, this is my work bucket, and this is my side hustle bucket. And she never neglects the side hustle bucket. And if work runs over, she goes, no, Tari, this is time for side hustle. And people go, what do you mean? How are you doing that? Well, I heard this guy named Mr. Productivity and he helped me set up these buckets. And so I set my work hours from 9 to 5. It's now 5 o'clock. I'm done. And they're like, really? Yeah. I've been here at work all day. Now she's a COO, CFO, but she's been here all day. And she goes, now it's time for, I have an hour of personal time for, dinner and stuff like that. Then I do my side hustle. She never did that. She would just work until she couldn't work anymore. And so if you want freedom, you need to harness the power of Mr. Productivity. If you need help, guess what? You don't have to go it alone. Just go to MrProductivity.com or go look up Mr. Productivity on Facebook. I'm here to help you, okay? I've been doing this for a long time, so if you don't know where to start, then let me help you. And you can pay me, not pay me, I'm still going to help you.
I think that's really, really important. Working with a coach can help with any area of your life. I mean, I've seen like business coaches, I've seen writing and publishing coaches, I've seen fasting coaches. Like when my fasting kind of stopped working, I saw a fasting coach. Like if there's an area of your life that's not working, like productivity, like freedom, get a coach. Yep. Work with someone who specializes in that particular area also, because coach is like a general term, and usually coaches, focus on one area. So see an expert like Mark to help you with this. I mean, so many people struggle with time. And I really love that you said that productivity is about freedom, because it's about setting boundaries for your time. Certain things, as you've just said, this for this, that for that. I have my stuff color coded in my calendar, as I said. Like client work is one color, my creative work is another color, like eating is another color, like everything's a different color, so I can see how much time I'm spending on each thing. So that's really helpful as well for me, because I'm a visual person. So Mark, tell us more about your coaching. Like how do you help people with productivity?
Well, I have two coaching options. The first one is called Digital Productivity Coaching Program. And I love that because I actually go live twice a month, the first and third Fridays, except for June, because I went to Tony Robbins UPW. Ooh. And what I do is I teach for 30 to 45 minutes, and then I answer any questions you have about productivity. So, and then I take that recording and I put it in the membership area. So if someone joins, they can go listen to last calls, whatever the case may be. And that is $49 a month. Oh. But I have this thing going. It's $7 for 7 days. So you can test drive it, see if you like it. If you like it, then you stay. If you don't, then don't. I mean, I don't beg people to stay. Yeah. But some people need one-on-one coaching, and I have a 12-week program, which is 12 45-minute coaching calls. We get on a Zoom, and we talk really specifically about your issues. Now, I do cover in the one-on-one, we still go through the 12 steps to productivity, my 12-step process to productivity, that we go through the group, but the difference is now you have me one-on-one. The group coaching call does not get me one-on-one unless you're the only one that shows up for a group coaching call, which is very rare. Then you get one-on-one with me, but then it's also going to go in the group area. So a lot of people they don't want to talk in front of a group. For whatever reason, they want one-on-one. So I do offer both of them. I love serving people. Yeah. I really love helping people. And I've had people go to my coaching program like, oh my gosh, this thing is phenomenal. My number one client, I hate to choose my favorite, but she is like, you have changed my life. And this Friday, well, actually tomorrow, June 11th, my call for this first call this month, she almost wasn't going to make it because at her company, they do a presentation, and the person who was going to do a presentation took a vacation day, so she had to fill in. And then she texted me this morning, hey, the speaker canceled, I can come. So happy about it. I mean, you know when people say that, that you got something good going on. So I just invite people to go to MrProductivity.com and check out the program. If you go to MrProductivity.com, you can actually get a free 20-minute call with me and ask me every question you want about the Digital Productivity Coaching Program. Does it do this? Do I get this? And ask me all these questions. And that's my gift to you. But I really believe it's the people have joined in the beginning. It was like the building wasn't completely built. And I don't mean like the paint was wet and the door stuck. I mean, there was part of the building that wasn't even built yet, and it's like outside open, and the rain was coming in. And so they've been with me, and I refined it, and now I'm finally hitting my stride with it, and people absolutely love it. I don't mean to toot my own horn. I mean, you can go, one of my clients' testimonials on my homepage at MrProductivity.com, and she goes, I get frustrated because people ask her, how are you so productive? And she tells them about DPC, Digital Productivity Coaching. It's only $49 a month. Oh, it's a lot of money. She goes, you go to Starbucks 5 days a week. Yeah. How much are you spending on Starbucks?
A fortune.
A month? Yeah. This is $49 a month, and it's changed my life. And she goes, I don't get these people. I'm like, you're complaining about how you're not productive. You see how productive I am. I tell you the solution. You're like, $49 a month. And then she goes, you spend that in 2 weeks in Starbucks. Yeah. Or she goes, I go out to dinner with my boyfriend. I spend more than $49. Yeah. She goes, so again, what we already talked about in the show, what's important to you? Yeah. What are your priorities? Obviously, these people who are in awe of her productivity, getting better is not important to them. And I respect them. I'll be here when they want my help.
Yeah. And, as you said before, it's about having more freedom to do the things you really want to do. Mm-hmm. The things that make you happy, the things that bring you joy. Productivity gives you that time and that freedom. So, Mark, people can find you at mrproductivity.com. Where else can they find you online? I know you're back on Facebook.
Don't forget, when you go to Mr. Productivity, it's MISTER.
Okay.
If you go to MR Productivity, don't know where you go. So make sure you spell out the word Mr. Productivity.
Perfect.
Facebook, again, 2 words, Mr. Productivity. I have a page in the group there.
Perfect. And can you tell us a little bit about your podcast? Because it used to be weekly and now it's moved to daily.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking on January 1st when I said, hey, I'm going to do a podcast today. And then right away had like 3 guests cancel for technical issues or health issues. But I've done a podcast every day. It used to be all productivity all the time. Now I try to tell people, if you're familiar with Joe Rogan, it's kind of like a clean version of Joe Rogan. I don't want you to say any swear words on my show. It's about having a show that helps the listener. Yeah. I know people's time is so precious. Yep. And so I very carefully vet every guest. And every time I talk on the show, I want to make sure I'm giving people value. So I go live once a week on my Facebook page and on LinkedIn and YouTube. And then again on my Facebook group, which are 2 different lives. I don't rerun it. And I will take that recording and I'll put it as an episode of my podcast because I repurpose it. And I want to help as many people as I can. So some people read the transcripts on my website. Some people listen to podcasts. Some people watch me live, whatever. I just want to help people. And I love the platform of podcasting because it's my own personal radio station and I can do whatever I want to do. I'm not relying on Facebook or LinkedIn. It's my show. I am the boss.
Yep. Love it. Thank you so much for joining us today. I've really enjoyed talking with you about running and eating and not eating and and all the good stuff. Because to me, this is all about freedom.
Yes, it is. And, while we were talking a few minutes ago, my watch went off at 10:30 and says, hey, it's time to take your green juice because I have to take it 30 minutes before eating. But it's okay. I just set my stopwatch. When I'm done, I set the timer for 30 minutes. Cool. Because the green juice used to taste horrible. Yeah. But I've had it for like 4 months now. I'm used to the taste now. And it's all nutrients. It's all nutrients, which is really awesome.
Great. Well, thank you again for joining us. Enjoy your green juice. I'm sorry it's a half an hour late, but it will be good for you.
No worries. Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate you having me on.
Have a good day.
Goodbye.
Bye. So I hope you enjoyed that interview. I hope you found it interesting and inspiring. And I hope it inspires you to find the things that you want to do that bring you joy and create new habits. If you have any questions, please do get in touch with Mark or get in touch with me because I think I'm a pretty productive person as well. And please drop me a line and let me know what you thought of this week's episode. You can email me at holly@hollywharton.com or find me online and get in touch there. And as always, remember to visit hollywharton.com/412. And in the meantime, happy trails to you. Thanks so much for listening to Into the Woods with Holly Wharton. You can find more information about today's episode, including links for topics that were discussed, at hollywharton.com. That's HOLLYWORTON.com. If you'd like to connect with other listeners and get support on your journey, I would love for you to join my private community on Patreon. That's patreon.com/Holly Wharton. That's patreon.com/Holly Wharton. Thank you so much for listening, and I look forward to seeing you next week.